All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome into the Monday edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle. And as always, we are going to be diving into the crypto gaming market. And with Bitcoin bouncing today, we're seeing quite a bit of a redemption from the gaming markets across the board as we're seeing projects up. From a varying range of 25, 15, 10%, but good to see with a Bitcoin redemption today. And I would definitely assume that if this rally is real, which we'll have to dig in and actually kind of see what the catalysts are and see if this is actually going to hold up. But the gaming and the altcoins will definitely follow. So we'll kind of dive into the gaming markets. But we have tons of news to cover today, including some massive partnerships between some metaverse and gaming projects and some gaming studios as well. We'll cover unfortunately, some NFT projects that are definitely the talk of Twitter today, which we're going to talk about Pixelmon and the big NFT controversy there, and kind of the red flags to look at, right? When you're looking at a project, what are the simple things maybe that you could try to pick out and try to see, well, are these guys legit? Is this project going to actually be building something and all that good stuff? Or is it just a cash grab, for example? And then I have tons of stuff in the month of March that you should look forward to that are legit projects that are part of actual teams that are building something absolutely brilliant. So we'll get into that and more in this edition. Without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you gon' play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you gon' play, but ain't a play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, let's get right into it because we have tons to get into today. And let's start with some news over the weekend that the EPL is nearing a 4-year deal for an NFT deal worth up to $589 million. And this would be in correlation with Dapper Labs, Candy Digital, and So Rare, amongst a couple other partners. So major investment and major partnership here between the EPL and these NFT platforms to not only bring more NFT exposure to the EPL, but continue what's going on with So Rare. If you don't know, So Rare is associated with the current association of football NFTs, right? You can play their iteration of a football soccer game right now, and it's very popular. A lot of people actually do go play that soccer game, and it's like the NBA Top Shot right now, if you had to compare it, and as far as the football or soccer realm, for example. So big to see the EPL getting involved at that extent even more, diving deeper into NFTs because they see the exposure, they see the potential, right? And obviously in their industry, they see the success of FIFA with Ultimate Team, to be honest. EA Sports makes so much money with EA Sports makes so much money with those card packs for Madden Ultimate Team that it just makes sense for them to get into their own iterations and versions of NFTs, maybe even a fantasy football system, right? Where you draft a team, you have a striker, you have a midfielder, you have a defender, and any given Saturday and Sunday, you're actually incentivized by the players that you hold and they produce points for you. There's so much you could do, right? So when you take a look at that, that's a huge partnership and it spans it's a global, that's worldwide, right? Some of these partnerships, they're very regional. Some appeal is only in certain countries, or there's only really some things are only hot narratives in certain spots. But stuff like the Premier League, there's fans of the Premier League everywhere. So that's absolutely big. And then we see here South Korea. We talked last week and the week before. South Korea is definitely going into the metaverse here as we see $187 million fund going into the metaverse for a national metaverse project. So another big development here from what I talk about all the time. We're not just seeing businesses flood in, right? We're seeing countries, we're seeing governments build these metaverse projects because everyone is seeing the potential across the entire space and across just business. Everyone sees where the metaverse could take their business potentially. And let's get into some big partnerships over the weekend, because we have no time to stop the news this Monday, because there's a lot of developments that occurred over the weekend, and then I have a lot to preface for the week because we have a big week ahead. But Vulcan Forge and the Sandbox are going to collaborate on a multiverse collaboration, which I think is big. So recently, Vulcan Forge and Sandbox had announced a partnership, right? And it was going to, we didn't really know all the details yet, and they really hit a home run with this, in my opinion. They're doing 400, so a very low supply, special edition characters from both worlds released, available to be farmed on the Vulcan deck. So as you see here, there's a vast description of the partnership. But at the end of the day, you're going to be able to use their characters cross metaverse, which is huge. So they're calling it a multiverse partnership. And like I said, you can kind of read what the integration is kind of going to entail. They'll have functionality in the Sandbox metaverse where our Vulcanite Sharon will be its own avatar. In turn, the Sandbox Sand Wizard character will be integrated into the Vulcanverse. So they're each doing a character that will swap into each metaverse. So I love that partnership and collaboration. And the Sand and PYR farm is now live. So 200 of the spots for the limited edition Sandbox avatars and Vulcanverse wizards are now available for farming. So if you're interested in that, if you're participating in the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, maybe take a look at that, because it's a good opportunity at a 400 supply. That's pretty sought after, in my opinion. And then another partnership over the weekend, Vulcan Forge is just one of those, I feel like every week it's new partnership, new this, new game, new that. So I love the foot is on the gas for Vulcan Forged here, but we're seeing that they are delighted to bring in fantasy art magazine, Heavy Metal Inc., and they have chosen Elysium as their blockchain due to their infrastructure and tree planting initiatives. And it seems like they're bringing in big brands here, right? So they have these fashion brands also apparently coming in, which are uncovered. We don't really know what those brands are going to be yet, but they're going to have big brands joining the Elysium blockchain because of its carbon neutral capability and the initiative, the green initiative. Businesses can get behind that. And that's a great narrative for some of these big companies, fashion brands, tech companies, etc., to be able to come in and make initiative behind their blockchain move, right? So many projects over time kind of just get, crapped on by their fan bases or their customer base if they go with an NFT or a crypto integration sometimes. And I think that if you do it right, with an initiative behind it, a potential green initiative like what Vulcan Forge provides, where the more you use their plants trees across the world. I actually love that. And I think it's easy for a business to integrate that because they have an actual initiative behind it that benefits not only the business, right? And not only the customer. And honestly, going towards the blockchain, obviously, we all know is more decentralized. It's better for the customer. If you're in crypto, you know that. So all in all, great partnerships and great developments from the weekend, from the heavy metal partnership to the Sandbox collaboration. I just love to see it from Vulcan Forged. And then another one of their partners. This looks fantastic. It's kind of teasing the Huslverse. When we had Jamie on the show a couple weeks ago, he mentioned that, that was the Huslverse we saw kind of a demo of. And you see here, they're going to have art, music, movies, and games. And the Huslverse is a whole new playing field for artists in gaming, where they're building on the Elysium blockchain. They're already partnered with Busta Rhymes, and they're going to have a ton more coming within the Huslverse. And I could definitely see whatever their fashion partnerships are, I could see that their fashion partnerships fitting right into the Huslverse here. And I just might have to get me a land plot in the Huslverse. I might just fit right in. We'll see. We will see. And then I wanted to talk about a game we have been covering and played on the stream last week. It was super fun. And we're going to have a great time in the future. We'll play it again at some point. And that is Cyball. We'll cover this game more in depth, and I'll put together an earnings guide on this game because I do have a ton of characters now, and I'm doing both rentals. I'm playing a little bit just to test the game, test the earnings, stuff like that. But as we see here, 11,000 users already within 5 days and 150,000 matches. So I really love to see the activity for the first few days, especially because this wasn't the most hype drop, right? It wasn't, everyone isn't talking about this game yet. It's not like the talk of the town. And I do think that this game is something to consider. And when you're talking about, everyone asked me for an early game, I emphasize this right now. These are all Genesis characters in this game. So every character right now within Cyball is a Genesis character. They have never been bred before. So this is the early call. I'm just going to, if you're looking for an early economy to get involved in, that you want to take a shot on to see if it booms into what Pegaxy just did or what Axie Infinity just did, this economy set up to do pretty similar things. The structure of it's very, very solid, and it's very, very similar. And the floor is going up. I see someone says Cyball NFT getting expensive. They definitely are. The floors are going up. But I think a lot of people are seeing the potential here, and a lot of the scholars are moving here, and a lot of the guilds are looking to bring their scholars over here. I've seen a lot of guilds moving scholars from Pegaxy and from Axie once again over to Cyball to test out and get involved in this economy. So we're following the guild money there, right? So when these guilds get involved, they definitely know that the earning economy is going to be lucrative, and we all know that like I just said, they're all Genesis. You can breed them. So you have the potential to breed each character, and it's a mentorship. You actually don't need two to breed in this game. So it's a mentorship and not a breeding protocol. So I think this is something to definitely look into. It is an early game. There hasn't even been an earnings period. It's the very first earnings period. So this would be the early game that I would say to definitely check out. And they did update the Sci Loans feature where you can check in how much your scholar has earned, as well as how much you have earned. So you kind of can get a gauge of where your scholar's at, where you're at on your revenue shares for your scholars on your Sci Loans, which are the system to go ahead and rent out your Sci blocks, aka your Sci blocks or your Cyball characters. So let's get into one of the main topics on the show. I want to talk about Pixelmon here because there's a lot of these types of projects right now across the NFT space, especially, and even in the crypto gaming space, tokens. Let's just say in general, a lot of projects are really rushing things out. Right? They're really willing to get a product out right now, an NFT out right now. They want to get a token out right now. They want to sell something to you, right? But they want to sell something to you because they can make money off of it right now, right? And then they'll promise you something down the line. Unfortunately, right now, in the space that we're playing in within crypto gaming, you have to be super, super selective and figure out where the jokers are and where the real actual builders are, for example. And this was an example of, some jokers, for example. And what they were promising was land airdrops, token airdrops, in-game earnings, alpha game release, limited in-game items, NFT airdrops, and more. Open world RPG NFT game. Basically, they wanted to go with the Pokemon here. Train, trade, fight, and evolve your Pixelmon through the metaverse. Will you become a Pixelmon trainer? And this right here was super hyped. I'll pull up their Twitter page, their general Twitter page really quick. 200,000 followers. So 200,000 followers here. This project actually was super hyped up. And this minted at 3 Ethereum. So as we see it right now, it's at 0.35 Ethereum. 0.35 Ethereum. And this was the result of the artwork of this project. A project that raised $70 million, right? So this was the product of $70 million mint, 3 Ethereum to mint. And this is what they developed, right? They turned around, and this is the play to earn game quality that you're going to be getting, right? Let's just say that. So you go look at this too. It's unfortunate, but the biggest meme out there right now is Kevin. This is Kevin. Meet Kevin. This is, Kevin is popular on the internet right now. Kevin is right now at a 3.85 Ethereum floor. So the product the project is in the dumps right now. The project is absolutely drowning. But I want to emphasize right now that a Kevin is a cultural icon at this moment, and he is going for 3.85 Ethereum. So, Kevin is doing his thing. Shout out to Kevin. But otherwise, we have Bormon. who's an ape. They say also ugly AF, but more affordable than Kevin. And then we got Nom Nom, a baby shark penguin. In my opinion, the cutest and cleanest of the lot, says this guy. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. But I definitely love Kevin. This man's absolutely he's great looking. I love what he's got going on. But here's the real point, and I want to point this out. So here's some of the things you can at least try yourself to figure out with these projects, right? So where are the devs getting the product from? So where is their development history? So it's one thing to have an established team, and there's a lot of projects out there when they're actually coming out with these play to earn games. Let's just say they're actually putting themselves out there and their credentials and what they've worked on, this and that, and you can actually back it up, right? When it comes to play to earn or the NFTs, there's great teams out there. I'm not going to name drop projects. I don't want to. This is not. I don't want to shill anything. I just kind of want to pick apart a good example of something that was a disaster, so we can try to correct those who did, get involved with this, and kind of things that we can look for, even if we didn't get involved, right? I didn't get involved with this, luckily. But there's a lot of things you can try to pinpoint and pick apart within this project and correct and not get involved in yourselves in the future. So like with the art that they were teaching and stuff like that, you so easily can tell. And I mean, now it's all revealed and stuff, but and it's hindsight. So a lot of people who got involved, they're like, yeah, but I couldn't tell coming in. I think it's there's always some sort of doubt level if you don't have the credibility of the team. So there's teams out there that have really good backgrounds. If you don't see what they're building, if they don't just show you flat out, this is what we're building, boom, boom, here's a gameplay, here's a trailer, yada, yada. Like if they're not actually just pumping out developments, making partnerships, etc., consistently, then you need to kind of maybe start looking a little deeper, like what is going on with the project. And you can literally clearly see that this dragon right here is the exact same. This is on the Unity asset store, right? Elemental dragon. Then the type of art style that we're seeing on this project, for example, it is the exact same style art. So we'll kind of go back here and we'll kind of take a look at the Unity asset store ourselves. And I want to just make a point, right? And I'll zoom in here. I've never been on this page, so it'll be pretty zoomed out. And I think I might just build a game here someday. We'll take a look at Elemental Dragon right here, $49.99. It's the second most popular. Like that is anyone with any sort of development background who has ever used Unity assets to get a dragon would have spotted that instantly, right? So I think maybe just browsing these and kind of getting a feel for the type of stuff that can just be easily picked out of a catalog of assets. And like I said, this is the Unity asset store. And this is not, Unity assets have done this for years. There's nothing against that. But it's a cheap way to make a game when you're fundraising $70 million. And who even knows if they're ever going to come out with a game. And you can get stuff as low quality as what they did, or this one right here, which I think you could literally sell as I think that one could sell as a Pokemon game as well, right? So there's so many things, unfortunately, that you could just go out here and cheaply buy and integrate into your game. And I want to emphasize the amount of things, right? Let's just go with, I had searched a couple things here. A knight, right? So we have like medieval knights, for example. You can just buy them $80, $24, $50, stuff like that. Let's just go to cars. Obviously, cars are easy, right? Cars are super easy. So that's like, it's honestly embarrassing. It's a cheap way to scam. And if you're just looking into some of these projects, if they are not checking the boxes beforehand, and if they're having a 3 Ethereum mint before you mint, you need to look at everything from the when they announce a 3 ETH mint, that's when you need to start taking a look at every single bit of the development and see what is going on. And, is this thing actually legit? Because that's quite a cash grab. Like no project out there mints for 3 ETH. I mean, Bored Apes legendarily went for under 0.1 Ethereum. Like, a lot of these projects, anything over 0.25 these days is considered a pretty expensive mint, and you're going for a 3 Ethereum mint. That's bold, right? That's bold when they hadn't done anything. And let's move on to the next thing here, which, Becker's pointed this out on his Twitter before. This is the dumb stuff he's talking about. People hollering about some project that Jake Paul got into. He researches it for 2 seconds, and it's Unreal template pack. So not only is there a Unity store, there's an Unreal asset store. And as he searched a Cyberpunk asset, and it immediately came up with the one on the home page here that they are literally advertising as like a character in their game. So always do your research on that, especially if there's a lack of info on the project. Another thing I want to emphasize is, where are the devs? Like, what is the devs' history is important, because, what does the team look like? What's the size of the team? Because embarrassingly so, how to make 20 million and play to earn today. You buy an Unreal demo for $300. Say it's a play to earn. Raise 20 million at 100 million pre-product from VCs. Say you're oversubscribed and need an answer, and you profit. You can go on here. I'll create a realistic car game for $1,000. You can get a quote unquote premium 3D car game. So yikes, right? So we might have to splurge and buy a game one day and like play it on the stream. What kind of idea, I think that would be a funny test to see if we bought a game on Fiverr or something like that and we played it on the stream, see what kind of quality we can get out of a Fiverr game. I think that would be a hilarious experiment, and one that we label to never try at home, because I think that would be just a hilarious experiment. And we have some memes here because obviously this is the biggest meme on the internet right now. This is the biggest meme on the internet right now. 70 million NFT game development starter pack. You have the Unreal assets, the Unity assets, the different Fiverr stores. Market took a dip, so our dev team purchased a few NFTs. So they purchased NFTs from the team's wallet from the 70 million right after they got some of the profits. So very unfortunate situation, but with unfortunate situations become memes. As you see here, you can read the text here, but baby, you didn't. 9,000 out of our bank account yesterday. Is it what I think it is? As she's implicating that it's a ring, and he bought a Kevin. My boy had to buy himself a Kevin. I understand. He could never show him that, though. He could never show him. And then this one, the Pixelmon reveal. You have Ronaldo, and then you have the infamous Ronaldo statue that looks absolutely nothing like Ronaldo. So with tragedy comes memes. So thank you, Twitter, for that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot you can try to look out for, guys. I would just recommend going on here and seeing the simplicity of these things. These look good. Like, if you try, like, these look not bad, right? So you need to just understand how easy it is sometimes to fake a game. So try to just do your research, find the credentials of the team. What have they actually worked on and stuff like that? And that's what I try to do. Like, I try to just present things that I know the team is building. The team has legit history. They have utility in their product. They're actually building a game that's original, not rebuilt, not reused, retooled, etc. So I think that's the key. So you can just kind of take a look at these things, and especially when they just have, a website that has no team, no partners, always go more in depth, especially when, there's projects like this. If you're going to just go throw 3 Ethereum at something, you definitely need to dive headfirst into every bit of research possible. And I want to talk about 3 changes coming up to the Pegaxy economy. So we're going to kind of speed run through the back end of the show here. But the final reminder of the upcoming gameplay changes that will be implemented. So they proposed a couple changes, but they do have changes coming up that will be implemented. The flippening, so they called it the flippening, where Zans will now become the lowest cooldown. So like the lowest cooldown time after breeding, for example. So flippening of cooldowns for all breeds. The cooldown for adult Pegas after breeding. So now after you breed, you actually have a cooldown on your adult Pegas, which will reduce the amount of VIS minted into the economy drastically. So I do think that's good. These are good changes, guys. Like, I'm thumbs upping both of those changes. And then also newborn Pega will be born with 0 energy. This is crucial because previously when you bred a Pega, the new Pega actually started with 25. So you could race him 25 times as quick as possible, and then you could actually have 25 races regenerate, right? And you actually get an extra 25 races technically for your first 24 hours if you utilized it that way. If you chose to, if you took advantage, if you gamed the system, you were actually able to race 25 times, get an extra 24 races back over the next 24 hours, and then you gamed yourself an extra 25 races, which could have resulted in that 22% win rate, which is additional winnings at the end of the day. So I like all of these changes to kind of reduce, in general, the amount of VIS printed into the economy, because we're seeing it test the lows, the previous lows before we saw VIS hit 22 cents. So we'll see where that goes. And then a little bit, shout out to Miko Crypto NFT on Twitter. He does really good on these Avalanche games. And we have a Tavern update. And we also have the mining updates for Krabata. And I will do, I'll kind of present my strategy, what I've been doing. And it's kind of a mix because right now I have 5 crabs. So I have a couple in the Tavern and I have 3 doing mining missions. So right now the ROI guide, the easiest and cheapest way to play the game is buying 1 crab and renting it out in the Tavern. Lowest ROI days are primes, assuming crabs rent out 11 times a day, which is 1 under the maximum. You can actually rent them out 12 times per day. The profit is net of a 10% Tavern fee. So as you see here, the crab cost about $1,800 to $2,100. And as you see here, the net profit per day, you can pay off in the Tavern a single crab. This is the lowest rate of return, I would say. The lowest rate of return way to play Krabata because it's super passive. You just put it in the marketplace for rental and they rent it out in the background. But it's not the same as a mining mission. So as you see here, you can pay it off anywhere between 82 days and 117 days. And the best class right now to get is primes with the newest update. And let's take a look here. Mining with the Miner's Revenge. And I want to take that factor out just to be safe. Here. So if you don't, and this will be the minimum earnings, guys. I just want to tell you the minimum earnings, and I'll kind of explain my strategy. So as you see here, mining with no Miner's Revenge. If you don't have the time to reinforce, let's just say you want to mine and you don't want to do anything extra, and you're okay with just losing every single time. Like, let's just say you're okay losing every single time. It's still better returns than just putting it in the background in the Tavern. And as you see here, one option is to mine and lose. It generates better returns, but the best bet is a combination of cheap crabs plus primes because there's a 10% bonus right now on primes, for example. So as you see here, the cost, the days of return here, even if you just lose every single time, is about 64 days. That's just a couple of months, guys. You get your money back here right now, even with the dip in the economy back very, very quickly right now within Krabata. So those are the kind of minimum returns. And what I do is kind of in between. So I have the 2 rented in the Tavern. They make a passive rate every single day. So those are getting paid off slowly but surely. But it's because you need a team of 3 to mine. So once I get my 3rd, I'll have 2 teams mining for me, for example. But right now, if you do miners reinforcements and you get it's called reinforcements. So you bring in help to help you win the mining raid. Even if you just win a few raids a day, you can pay these off as quickly with a full team of primes within 54 days, which is less than 2 months. So even at just a little bit of a win rate, right? Win a few a day. And this is assuming 5 mines per day. Let's say you're not a psychopath, right? And you like to sleep and you like to you don't have an alarm set on your phone every single 4 hours of every day of your life to go do this. And you did 4, let's just say you would pay it off in 2 to 4 months here safely, whichever method you went, because also the Tavern doesn't require that 4-hour responsibility. If you're doing the mining raids, you have to send it manually and collect every single 4 hours. The difference here is the Tavern is rented out completely passively in the background. So there's a lot going on here. I do a mix. My win rate isn't great, but I win some of the raids. I lose most of the raids, but I still get very, very solid TUS returns, and it's been paying out so far. And I definitely bought when crabs were high, but I'm willing to stomach that because I'm in these economies long term. I mean, I'm excited for the changes that they made because it's actually, I think that the economy will trend back up here, especially when the battle game comes out. But on top of that, I do think Pegaxy will. I think that the changes that we just talked about for Pegaxy look very, very bullish. And I love this right here. With me everywhere at Play Krabata. This guy right here is hitting the one arm rows in the gym with one arm, and he's got the crabata. He's managing the crabata with the other hand. So this guy right here is a play to earn degen. Much honor to that man, because that is dedication. Hitting the rows at the same time as checking the crabs. You got to make sure you're getting the TUS earnings. That's the crab life right there. When you have crabs, you got to spread them in the gym. Don't post that anywhere. But Phantom Galaxies episode 2 is now live, and this is the second phase of kind of the early rollout of the game. And I played this earlier, and we showed the gameplay on stream and stuff like that. And this was episode 1. I haven't had time to get into episode 2, and the game's super polished. Like, as far as blockchain games go, this is the best one I've ever played. So whenever the earnings capabilities are fully built into Phantom Galaxies, when this thing is fully released, etc., obviously I'm super, super excited about what's going on with Phantom Galaxies. This is like true AAA. This looks awesome, and it plays very smooth. So in my opinion, this is something to definitely look out for. Give it a shot. All you have to do is get the Halbert NFT. It's like $7 or something to try out episode 1. If you didn't know, just go get the Halbert. It's like $7, and you can actually test out episode 1 and see if you like it. And if you get to episode 2, and even if you don't like it, it costed you $7. You can resell that $7. It's on the Polygon chain. There's no gas really, so there is, but it's super cheap. So very, very cheap to actually play this right now. If you actually want to try out Phantom Galaxies, I highly recommend it. And you can actually go through the guide here to get involved. If you're new to Phantom Galaxies, it'll kind of show you what you need to do, for example. But you'll be able to kind of get in. And I don't even know if you need the Halbert anymore. I'm actually not sure. I know initially that you did. But definitely something to check out. If you're into the future of crypto games and you're looking forward to the AAA titles, I think that that's something to watch out for. And Phantom Galaxies is something to be on your watch list, clearly. On top of that, and these are all the developments coming up, guys. This is going to be rapid fire because there's like 5 or 6 releases coming up in the early bits of March that we will be covering extensively here on the channel. This one will be more brief because I'm not really buying any tokens right now. My tokens are in place. My portfolio is good where it is, for example, and I don't want to take any risks with this market. Who knows if this bounce is real, etc. But we have crypto unicorns actually releasing their rainbow token today in an auction. And as you see here, their tokenomics, they look pretty good. Ecosystem funds, staking, play and earn, investors. Team is at 20%, which I think could be a little lower. But, a lot of projects that are solid have done this in the past. So I'm not going to throw shade at that, to be honest. I think that that's okay. And when you look at it, it's investors 15%, team 20%. Everything else is basically towards either the public sale, airdrops, ecosystem, or play and earn. So at the end of the day, not too bad token distribution. Could be better on the team allocation, but this will be one of their tokens in their ecosystem. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Another launch, which is coming tomorrow. So that's today. On March 1st, we have the last sale of the big time early access pass. So if you participated in their land sales, if you don't have an access pass yet, they're actually doing their last access pass sale March 1st at 10 a.m. Eastern. And right now these are live on OpenSea, but they're all a little bit more expensive than what the sale price is tomorrow, right? So they're incentivizing to get involved in the last sale. And as they see here, they're selling 2,200 Jade passes, 770 silvers, and 290 golds. After that, they'll only have a couple hundred remaining in total. So this is on March 1st. So if you're actually looking to get involved in big time early, take a look March 1st. A little cheaper, like I said, across the board than what's available on OpenSea to get involved there if you don't already have a big time pass. And that'll be access to get involved with what looks to be the World of Warcraft of the blockchain. I mean, big time looks absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait for that. The team, we mentioned teams earlier in this video, top tier team when it comes to big time. Alpha Season 2 for Sandbox, right around the corner. On Thursday, this comes out, Alpha Season 2, where you'll have some earning capabilities, so many different mini games and tasks to go complete. And we'll do this right here on the stream on Thursday. If that sounds like fun, I definitely think. We haven't spent much time in the sandbox here, and let's go and see what the hype is about, right? Why are all these corpse flooding into the sandbox? Why is everyone giving it all this attention, right? Everyone kind of wants to know all the buzz. let's hop into Sandbox this week when the Alpha Season 2 comes live, and it's playable for everyone. You don't need a Season 2 Alpha Pass this time around. You just need to register. All content's open to everyone. You can win an Alpha Pass just by playing. Complete as many quests and increase your chance of winning. Get ready to play to earn. So very, very much looking forward to this. And then on March 4th, such a busy week. My head's spinning. On March 4th, guys, we have the Heroes of Mavia land sale. They pushed it back due to the crisis going on in Ukraine. They didn't really want to mint out during that time period, which I understand. It's on top of, just being sensitive to the situation. It's always not the best look to give it turn your back to it, just mint out your project and don't care. Give people time. I agree with this move. Move it back. Sensitive time. And I love this. I'm definitely getting involved here, trying to get that legendary land. I luckily got whitelisted for that. And that was hard. That was a really hard. You had to apply for it. You had to do either work in the Discord or, all this different stuff. So I did get a legendary land allocation here for the whitelist. So I hope to mint this on the 4th and have no issues. But this is a pretty hype mint here. And I'm looking forward to this because it's the Clash of Clans of the blockchain, guys. This looks absolutely amazing. And when it comes to proven games, this was one of the most successful mobile games out there in the past few years. So I just think that this has a lot of success written all over it. And the team is really making some good tweaks. The marketplace looks great. The land looks awesome. They're going to have land staking immediately almost. So I love that. And as you see here, you can check your whitelist status on the Settlers program. You can just put your wallet in for example. So that's how you kind of check if you made the whitelist, if you applied. Another game that's a little more low key, but if you're looking for all spectrums, the biggest games in the space and some of the smaller games in the space, I think that this is one to look at. It's Metagods, as we see here. So what was that one called? That was Heroes of Mavia. The last one. This one right here is the Metagods land sale. And as we see here, a piece of land is a 1x1 grid in a dungeon, which is a 10x10 grid. There's only 3,500 land plots in the entire game. So sounds like it's pretty solid on the supply. Metagods looks pretty fun. The beta gameplay, the closed beta, is available right now. And I've heard some good feedback. I heard it's very user-friendly. And as they just said, there's going to be a lot of passive revenue streams. If you know me, as far as play to earn gaming, I absolutely love that. Highly benefits landowners, providing various passive revenue streams. I mean, they're talking my language here. So as I said, from the top projects to the lower cap projects, this is a small market cap game, but I really have my eye on it. And I think that the investors behind this project, the team building this project, as well as just the gameplay, everything going on, I absolutely love this. I'm looking forward to that. And then the last thing for this week to put on your radar is the Antonym mint. So Antonym is kind of a blend. It's like more of a cultural NFT piece, blend of, they call it phygital. It's physical and digital. This is one I've been looking forward to for a while because I'm a big fan of hype beast stuff, cause figures, bear brick, all the hype beasts. Everyone knows the kind of Supreme style stuff, but not so much Supreme. I think that's a little basic or whatever. But I do love what Antonym is doing here, and it fits the avenue of culture and just everything that they're doing. The team behind this project is really, really sharp, and I'm really looking forward to trying to get involved on this project, as their private sale mint is on the 1st, and then their Dutch auction is on the 2nd, and that will actually be at 20% higher than the OpenSea price at the time. And they did a thread to explain why that makes sense, and I do really agree with it. The team's really sharp, and I'm looking forward to try to get involved here on Antonym. So these are what I'm excited for this week. I just covered 5 or 6 things going on this week that I have my head's spinning, right? I got to get involved. It's every single day this week, the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. No, it's the 1st, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. We got stuff going on this week to try to mint or try to get involved on, or we'll play the Sandbox Alpha on Thursday. So it's going to be a crazy week. And I want to preface this. Later in the week, guys, we we are going to have some major guests on the show, some from some of our favorite projects across the space. So I want to just preface, it's going to be a huge week on the show. And Edon, if you want to show what the Banter fam's up to right now, what I'm missing right now?
Yeah, I'll show exactly. We all out here. We wish you were here, bro, but here's everyone.
Yeah, I know. I wish I was out there too.
Run, give a wave. Come on, run.
Yeah,
no,
everyone.
We're having a good time here.
Man, I'm bummed out. I wish I was out there.
Miles is asking me what alpha you've provided.
Oh man, what alpha did I not provide this one? Like I said,
I'll tell him to watch the show when he gets home.
I think it'll deserve a rewatch and some note taking. But we'll wrap it up here. So those are the things that I'm really looking forward to this week in the space. Like I said, I think there's like 4 or 5 releases this week that I'm definitely looking to get involved on. And they already have done the big time stuff in the past. This is the final big time early access sale, though. So if you've been waiting to get involved, if you have been waiting to get involved in this economy, this is the last sale for that one. But otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. We covered a ton in this video, from news across the space, from things to potentially look out for when you're vetting a project, as far as what's the quality, what are they actually building, etc., how to potentially dig deeper and see how the game's being built out, and try to pick out those fakes that use the Unity assets. Because I think that's just so common right now, because people want those cash grabs, especially in the NFT space, when so many projects are promising a play to earn game. And then we covered a ton of upcoming drops, which I'm super bullish on. I'll try to get some gameplay too for episode 2 of Phantom Galaxies, because it's super quality. And I think just that'd be a fun one. It's not a game that I'm going to see people in the chat, oh, this game's boring. Play to earn games suck, even though it's not even hardly a year into play to earn games being like really hot. But, people just have no patience. I talked about this last week. Give it patience, guys. Let these teams build. But we'll play some Phantom Galaxies later this week, because I actually think it's so impressive. It deserves a little bit of spotlight. And I think it'll kind of give clarity to those who want something super, super quickly, right? Who want like a AAA game now. We'll give it to them. We'll play some Phantom Galaxies later this week. And as I said, look forward to some major guests. Like the show, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later this week. Till then, play well, my friends. Back tomorrow, by the way. Not just back later this week.